8 months pregnant, I was pushed from the second floor, bleeding profusely. Marcus frantically carried me to the hospital, where leading specialists performed surgery. Luckily, the baby was saved. When I opened my eyes again, neither the baby nor Marcus was by my side. I struggled to get up, limping as I searched everywhere. At the morgue door, I overheard Marcus talking to a doctor. "Mr. Marcus, that child was clearly still breathing. How could you smother him to death? That was your own son. Better off this way. He was never meant to be born into this world. Sarah just gave birth to my son yesterday, and I promised her our child would be the sole heir to the Shin family fortune. I won't allow anyone to compete with him for the inheritance." It turned out that a happy family was just my own delusional fantasy. My supposedly proud marriage was nothing but a frigid hell. If that's the case, then I'll leave. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you are listening from. The doctor's expression was hesitant. "But you intend to use Sarah's child to deceive your wife. What if she finds out? Newborns all look pretty much the same. She won't notice. I'll take him over in a moment. Dispose of the body cleanly. Also, give me that drug from your hospital that can permanently sterilize a woman. I'll give it to Grace later." The doctor was stunned and exclaimed, "Mr. Marcus, you've already killed your wife's child just to bring Sarah's child into the family. Why do you need to sterilize her too? Isn't that too cruel?" The morgue's cold seeped out the door, but Marcus's words were even more chilling. "I promised Sarah that our child would never suffer any injustice in this life, and that no other siblings would compete with him for affection. Even though she's already someone else's wife, I need to put her mind at ease." The doctor's face showed reluctance. "Mr. Marcus, I must warn you, that drug has just been developed and hasn't undergone clinical trials yet. The side effects are significant. Can you really bring yourself to do it?" Marcus paused, then sighed, "There's no other way. Grace will wake up soon. Performing a hysterectomy on her now would inevitably raise her suspicions. She'll just have to endure it. I'll compensate her well in the future, but there's no way I can let Grace get pregnant again." No sooner had he finished speaking than Marcus's phone rang. He put it on speaker, and a man's excited voice echoed in the morgue. "Mr. Marcus, I've received the 5 million. Don't worry, I'm leaving Sterling City now. I'll never let your wife know you told me to push her downstairs, hee." Footsteps approached from inside. Enduring the pain in my leg, I stumbled back to my hospital room. Thinking of my baby's tiny body in the morgue, I clutched my chest tightly, tears falling onto my still bandaged leg. It turned out that being pushed down the stairs at the mall wasn't an accident. It was my beloved husband, clearing obstacles for the woman he loved and their child. My baby hadn't been saved, he had been smothered to death by his own father. In his eyes, my child and I were nothing but stumbling blocks. "Grace, are you awake?" Marcus entered, holding a baby, and smiled as he sat by the bed. "Come quickly, look at our baby. Doesn't he look just like us? Wife, thank you for giving me such a lovely son. I promise I'll be a good father." I looked at the baby sleeping soundly in his arms, and my heart ached. Marcus was wrong, no mother would ever mistake her own child. The baby's eyes and brows were very much like Marcus's, but the nose and chin looked almost identical to Sarah's. This was their child. And my baby was, at this moment, just a cold corpse. "Grace, does your leg still hurt? Here, take some painkillers." The concern and tenderness in his eyes were as they always had been, but it was all just a pretense to deceive me. I looked at the pills in his hand, recalling what I had just overheard. "Marcus, the medicine is too bitter. Can I take it later? You've already killed one of my children, can't you at least leave me the right to be a mother?" Marcus hesitated for only a second, then smiled and stroked my head. "You're a mother now, why are you still acting like a child? You've already gone through so much giving birth, and now your leg hurts. It breaks my heart so much I can't sleep. Grace, can't you take pity on your husband? I still need to be a dad to our baby." I added honey to the water, "It's very sweet. Come, let your husband feed you." "No, that's not my baby, it's yours and Sarah's." Marcus brought the pill to my mouth, not giving me another chance to refuse. All the blood in my body ran cold. I closed my eyes and swallowed the pill whole, without drinking the honey water. I didn't want this false sweetness. The drug quickly took effect. My lower abdomen felt like it was burning, or being cut open with a knife, and blood streamed out. "Grace, what's wrong?" Marcus called for a doctor, and I passed out from the pain. In a daze, I heard the doctor say, "Mr. Marcus, your wife's entire uterus has been corroded. She won't be able to have children again." Marcus let out a long sigh of relief. When I opened my eyes again, his eyes were red, and he looked at me with a pained expression. Grace, the doctor said you had a sudden postpartum hemorrhage and won't be able to conceive again. Don't be sad. Luckily, we already have Leo. When he grows up, he'll definitely take good care of you and respect you. Leo? He named Sarah's child so quickly? Marcus refused the nurse's help with cleaning me, and despite his cleanliness obsession, he personally brought hot water and cleaned the bloodstains. He told me his mother wanted to see her grandson and had already taken the baby. By the time he finished all this, it was late at night. I looked at his slightly tired face and forced a smile. I'm fine. You've had a long day too, go get some rest. Marcus kissed my forehead. Okay. If you need anything, wake me up. Tomorrow, I'll take you to pick up Leo. From now on, our family of 3 will live a good life. After he fell asleep, I quietly picked up his phone. To show his loyalty to me, Marcus's phone had never been locked. Partition. The password to switch systems was Sarah's birthday. As the system switched, the screen wallpaper changed to a university photo of him and Sarah. On WhatsApp, Sarah was the only contact. Opening the chat, a photo of Sarah holding a baby stung my eyes. Marcus, look how beautiful our baby is. He'll definitely be as handsome as you when he grows up. That child was identical to the one Marcus had held for me earlier that night. The further back I scrolled through the chat history, the colder my heart grew. During my 8 months of pregnancy, Marcus was constantly on business trips. The days he spent by my side could be counted on 2 hands. I didn't want to disrupt his work, so I quietly endured the discomfort of morning sickness alone, traveling to prenatal appointments by myself. Only now did I realize that his so-called business trips were just excuses to be with Sarah and ensure her pregnancy went smoothly. Tens of thousands of photos documented everything about Sarah's pregnancy, from conception to delivery. Every day, Marcus personally prepared prenatal meals for her, accompanied her on walks and shopping trips, and even held her hair back while she vomited during morning sickness. For every prenatal appointment, he was by her side, never leaving, his loving gaze fixed on her as if she were a rare treasure. I had asked Marcus many times to name our child. He would always take a long time to reply, Grace, a name is just a designation. Anyone will do. I'm busy. Let's talk about it once he's born. Yet, when Sarah had just conceived, Marcus had already thought of hundreds of names for the baby in her womb. Sarah, how about Zeke for our baby? Like future to look for. Ward to dot. Or Boyun? Signifying vast knowledge and a bright future. Never mind, let's just call him Leo. I only wish for him to be happy, healthy, and safe, to live a long and fulfilling life. After every prenatal appointment, he would give Sarah a gift, either lavish jewelry or a limited edition sports car. Or safely got through another prenatal appointment. We must celebrate. He even gave her a historic European estate to celebrate her smooth delivery. While all I ever got was a single sentence, Grace, you've worked hard. I have a meeting now. It turned out that love and its absence were this starkly evident. Heartbroken, I put down the phone and bought myself a plane ticket to leave the country 3 days later. Back in the hospital bed, I stared blankly at the ceiling. My heart was full of sorrow, and I didn't sleep a wink all night. The next day, Marcus, as usual, had his assistant specially buy me a nutritious meal. Before, I used to be touched by his thoughtfulness, how he'd worry about my diet even when he wasn't around. But remembering him in an apron, busy in the kitchen for Sarah last night, I realized it was all just a perfunctory gesture. Money was worthless in the face of true feelings. Seeing me not eat a bite, Marcus seemed a bit distressed. Grace, why aren't you eating? Is it not to your taste? It's nothing, I just miss the baby. Marcus chuckled, so you're missing Leo. I miss him too. I never understood before, but now that I'm a father, I realize I don't want to be apart from him for even a second. Our Truly is the cutest child in the world. Margaret is overjoyed to have a grandson and is celebrating at the, we'll go pick up Leo soon. I said nothing. Since I'd already decided to leave, I let him be. Upon arriving at the, as soon as I entered, I saw Margaret and Sarah playfully cooing at Leo. Sarah was dressed in high-end designer wear, looking radiant, without a trace of fatigue from recently giving birth. Margaret, while doting on the child, fed Sarah a premium health drink. What a top-tier treatment. Sarah saw me and, with a passive-aggressive tone, said to Margaret, Margaret, please don't be so kind to me. People will think I'm your daughter-in-law. Grace might get jealous. She's delicate, so perhaps this premium health drink should go to her instead. Margaret followed her gaze, scrutinizing the blood-stained clothes I was still wearing from the day of the incident, and said with disgust, is my son not providing for you, or not clothing you? Wearing such inauspicious clothes, Are you deliberately trying to embarrass my family? Look at Sarah, she's also a woman who just gave birth, and she's much stronger than you. You're just being fussy. You couldn't stay put, running around while pregnant. Why didn't you fall to your death? And you still have the nerve to play the victim here. It's a good thing my grandson is fine, otherwise, I'd immediately tell Marcus to divorce you. Knowing you had to nurse the baby, you still dared to take random medication. It hadn't helped with the feeding, my grandson would have starved because of you, you inauspicious thing. I hereby declare I'm adopting Sarah as my goddaughter. From now on, she'll call me Mom just like Marcus does. I knew Margaret had never liked me. She felt I wasn't good enough for Marcus, and that I was far less charming than Sarah, who was his childhood sweetheart, beautiful, and sweet-tongued. It wasn't until Sarah married abroad and I became pregnant that Margaret, for the sake of the child, reluctantly acknowledged me as her daughter-in-law. But during our usual meetings, she never missed an opportunity for sarcasm. In the past, Marcus would always defend me a few times. Not to mention that day at the mall, he was the one who insisted I go, saying he wanted to buy gifts for our unborn child. But now, his eyes were fixed on Sarah, with an undeniable tenderness. Sarah, holding Leo, walked up to him and playfully linked her arm through his. Marcus, did you hear? Margaret adopted me as her goddaughter. My dear brother, did you prepare a gift for your little sister? Marcus, with a look of helpless indulgence, pinched her cheek. You're such a prankster. Don't call me brother. Despite his words, he had someone deliver 92 designer mink coats, with matching jewelry already picked out. I know you love fashion, but you're still in postpartum recovery period, so you can't catch a cold. Wear them interchangeably for the 3 winter months, all 92 days. Sarah happily kissed Marcus's cheek, like a charming young girl. Wow, many of these are from their future 3-year collections, and they're all limited editions. You actually got them for me in advance, Marcus, you truly spoil me. But you've given me so many gifts, won't Grace get angry? Compared to these dazzling, incredibly valuable mink coats, my clothes, stained with dried blood, made me look even more like a clown. Marcus paused, as if just remembering I was still there, and said awkwardly, Grace, it's not what you think. Sarah is used to living abroad, you know, customs there are more open. And these clothes, I heard she just gave birth to, and her husband isn't around. We grew up together, after all, I just wanted to. Before he could finish, Leo suddenly started crying. Sarah looked surprised. Oh dear, is Leo hungry again? Mommy's going upstairs to feed you now. After saying that, she didn't forget to pretend to apologize to me. Grace, please don't misunderstand. I'm just used to comforting my own baby, and Leo always gets so happy when I say that. She was about to go upstairs with the baby, but her body swayed and leaned into Marcus's arms, as she said weakly, Marcus, I feel a little dizzy. Marcus immediately pushed me away, anxiously put his arm around Sarah, his expression urgent. How can this be? It must be postpartum weakness. I told you to rest properly at a specialized recovery clinic. Come, I'll carry you up. My right leg was still bandaged, and with his push, I collapsed onto the floor, the pain excruciating, but didn't spare me a glance. In front of everyone, he lifted Sarah in a princess carry and went upstairs with Leo. Everyone watched me mockingly, their voices full of disdain and contempt. No wonder Marcus spoils Sarah so much. Not only is she beautiful, but she's also so kind, willing to nurse someone else's child. Unlike this useless thing, who's not only shabby and unpresentable, but can't even endure a simple leg ache, and took medicine while breastfeeding. So selfish. Does someone like this even deserve to be a mother? I think Sarah is more like Leo's mom, she cares more for the child. Leo even resembles Sarah a bit. The child must be ashamed of Grace and doesn't want to look like her. Sarah and Marcus are so well matched, it's a shame they couldn't get married back then. Margaret not only didn't defend me but looked at me with even greater disgust and snapped, Why are you still lying there like a dog? If you want food, go beg outside. My family doesn't feed worthless, lowly women like you. You don't care about your own son and can't even hold your husband's heart. I hear you can't have children anymore? My son marrying a wife like you is truly being cursed with bad luck. Get lost, just looking at you takes 10 years off my life. Humiliation flooded over me. Thinking of the divorce papers I had already prepared on my phone, I said nothing. I struggled to get up, limping towards the study upstairs. I put the printed divorce papers into my bag and went to the guest room to look for Marcus. But they weren't in the guest room. Only the postpartum nurse was there, holding a well-fed Leo, resting. As I wondered about this, I heard ambiguous sounds coming from the bedroom Marcus and I shared. The door wasn't fully closed. Sarah was sitting on Marcus, her clothes disheveled, her voice seductive. Marcus, I have too much milk, and Leo's appetite is too small. I am so engorged. I'm so uncomfortable, won't you help me? Marcus hesitated. Sarah, don't. You only just gave birth 2 days ago, your body can't take it. It was already a huge risk for you to have my child without your husband knowing. I can't harm you further. Sarah pressed his head down. Silly, I'm not afraid, why are you? Having your baby was my choice. He's always away, he won't know anything. Please, have some pity on me. Marcus said nothing more. The sounds from inside were barely audible, but my stomach churned with nausea. I fled thee as if my life depended on it. It wasn't until I breathed the fresh air outside that the suffocating feeling began to dissipate, though my tears continued to fall uncontrollably. Marcus, you knew I was downstairs, how could you dare to do such a thing? And in our bedroom? I sat at the entrance, utterly distraught. I don't know how much time passed before a foul-smelling liquid was poured over me. Sarah suddenly appeared, laughing tauntingly. Grace, look at your miserable state. Was intoxicated expression when he was on me beautiful? So she had deliberately made sure I saw them. Tisk, tsk, tsk. Look at you now, your son is dead, and you're limping on one leg. If I were you, I would have died a long time ago. What's the point of living? So what if you married Marcus and had his child? Didn't he still smother your son to death for me and my child, and make it so you can never have children again? I even have a video recording of your son dying. Do you want to see how his little face turned from red to purple? It's quite a show. I stared intently at her phone screen, watching my child slowly suffocate to death. My whole body trembled uncontrollably. How could she speak so casually about ending a child's life? I raised my hand high, but Sarah pulled out a dagger and forcefully cut herself across the chest. Blood seeped through her clothes, the dagger fell to the ground, and she let out a scream. The next second, I was forcefully pushed to the ground. Marcus cradled Sarah in his arms, then turned and roared at me. Grace, have you lost your mind? Before I could even explain, Sarah started crying hysterically. Marcus, I was afraid that Grace, being the mother, wouldn't be happy about me feeding Leo, so I wanted to explain to her. But she said I wanted to steal the child and threatened to cut off my breasts so I couldn't feed him anymore. I just felt sorry for Leo being hungry and was comforting the child. How could she do this to me? Marcus's face darkened as he looked at me. You fell down the stairs yourself and broke your leg, that's why things turned out this way. Why are you taking it out on Sarah? You're not a fit mother. You took medicine and can't feed the baby. Sarah was trying to help you out of kindness, so how dare you lay a hand on her? If you don't care about the child, does that mean no one else is allowed to? I'm not a fit mother? I don't care about my child? Tears streamed down my face, and I roared at him in a fury. I'm not a good mother? What about you? Do you dare tell me why I fell down the stairs, where my child really is, and what kind of medicine I took? Marcus frowned. Leo is, of course, sleeping soundly in his room. That medicine was also to relieve your leg pain. Don't you know all this? As for you falling down the stairs, of course, it was your own carelessness. With so many people around, why were you the only one pushed? You're useless, and you still have the nerve to harm Sarah. You're a mother yourself, how could you bear to hurt another mother? Apologize to Sarah now. Right, with so many people around, why was I the only one who got pushed? Seeing his self-righteous demeanor, I suddenly laughed. This was my husband, a complete liar, a murderer. I picked up the dagger from the ground and, with all my might, cut myself a dozen times across my chest until my clothes were soaked through with blood. Marcus was shocked. Grace, what are you doing? Stop it. I dropped the dagger and looked at him calmly. Marcus, you're right. One shouldn't harm a mother. So I'm atoning to your beloved. Is this sincere enough? After saying this, I turned and left. Seeing the bloodstains on the ground and my stumbling back, Marcus tried to come and help me, but Sarah wrapped her arms around his neck. Marcus, I'm in so much pain. Will you take me to the hospital? We can't let our Leo go hungry. Marcus hesitated for a moment, his heart torn, but ultimately he picked up Sarah and walked in the opposite direction from me. Hours later, Marcus called. Grace, have you treated your wounds? Don't worry, I had them use a nursing-safe ointment on Sarah. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have spoken to you that way today. But the doctor said the medicine you took isn't suitable for breastfeeding. Sarah has plenty of milk, and formula isn't nutritious enough. Leo still needs her help, so I'm just taking care of her as a way of showing my gratitude. Don't take it to heart. I said calmly, I'm fine. You take good care of her and don't let the child go hungry. I knew my wife was the most understanding. I've spoken to Margaret too, she won't bully you again. You've given our Shin family a son, you're a great contributor. The day after tomorrow, your husband will throw you a celebration, and apologize to you. Just wait for me. The local TV station reported all night that Mr. Marcus, CEO of Shin, made a grand display of affection for his beloved, summoning dozens of leading specialists from across the country by helicopter overnight, just to treat a minor wound on his sweetheart. I took out antiseptic and bandages and simply treated my wounds. The next day, Marcus still didn't return. I packed up all my belongings and donated them. And the marriage certificate I had once cherished so deeply was torn into pieces and thrown into the trash. On the third day, at noon, Marcus sent me a WhatsApp message, "Grace, I'm done with war. I'm heading to the hotel to check on the setup. I'll have my assistant pick you up this afternoon." In reality, he was holding Sarah's hand, cradling Leo, on a shopping spree through various jewelry stores at the mall, receiving envious glances and congratulations from all the store clerks. Mr. Marcus truly dotes on his wife and child. I've met my sales targets for at least 20 years. What a picture-perfect family. But I heard Mr. Marcus booked the cheapest banquet hall at the hotel today. It's supposedly to celebrate his wife giving birth. You must be mistaken, right? Given Marcus's lavish spending on his wife, would he book something so cheap? Haven't you seen the necklace Mrs. Shin is wearing? Mr. Marcus just bought it for her this morning. It's enough to buy 10 hotels. All of this was witnessed by me, who had just finished buying a suitcase on an upper floor. I stopped replying to him, found a local courier service, and sent the divorce papers and several other documents to be delivered to the banquet venue later. After doing all this, I put on my sunglasses and headed straight for the airport. Hours later, Marcus finally finished shopping with Sarah and Leo and went to the hotel, but he was told that Grace hadn't appeared yet. Marcus checked the time. An hour had passed since the agreed-upon time. He felt a bit strange. Grace was never late for their dates with him. Just as he was about to call and ask, his assistant ran over frantically with some documents, his voice anxious. "Mr. Marcus, this is bad. Your wife is gone. Someone just delivered these." Looking at the divorce papers, Marcus's eyes widened in disbelief. Grace wanted a divorce? How could this be? Besides the divorce papers, there was also a USB drive. Marcus told his assistant to quickly display its contents. But the assistant had left in a hurry and hadn't brought a laptop. The only place to plug in the USB drive was the large screen on stage, but there were so many guests present. Sarah noticed the commotion and walked over, holding Leo. "Marcus, what's wrong?" "Leo's been fussing with me for ages. He definitely wants his dad to hold him." "Hurry, hold him." Marcus, however, ignored her and roared at his assistant, "What are you staring at? Play it now." The roar startled Leo, who immediately burst into tears. Sarah, comforting the child, shot Marcus a resentful look. Marcus now showed no trace of his previous paternal affection, his eyes fixed on the large screen. It was several video clips edited together. There was Marcus's conversation with the doctor in the morgue, the truth about Grace being pushed downstairs, and even a scene of him and Sarah illicitly together at the. Marcus's face was ashen, and his whole body trembled uncontrollably. So, Grace knew everything. He had thought that Grace, having just given birth and injured her leg, would be too weak to get out of bed. But he had underestimated a mother's worry and desperation when she couldn't see her child upon waking. And he had thought he was hiding it well, pompously putting on act after act in front of Grace. When begged him not to take the medicine, he ignored the plea in her eyes and semi-coaxed, semi-forced her to permanently lose her right to be a mother. Marcus didn't dare to imagine what state of mind Grace had been in these past few days. His mind buzzed, everything around him seemed to fade away, his head filled only with thoughts of Grace and the image of his child being stifled by his own hand. The guests were also greatly shocked, murmuring amongst themselves, "Holy cow, no way. That child was Sarah's? And Marcus smothered Grace's baby to death? Isn't that a crime? His own flesh and blood, how could he bear to do it? That's too cruel." They called him a wife-doting maniac. He's more like a wife-harming, child-killing maniac, all to pave the way for his mistress's illegitimate child. How heartbroken Grace must have been when she learned the truth. "I always thought that Sarah wasn't a good person. She's always been flirtatious and provocative. She's married, yet she's constantly at the Shin family home, not at all settled and proper." Their voices were loud. Sarah's face grew paler and paler, and she tugged at Marcus's sleeve helplessly. "Marcus, they're all looking at me like that. What should I do? Say something." Marcus, however, seemed not to hear. He pulled his sleeve free and turned to walk out the door. He had only taken 2 steps when Margaret blocked his path. Son, at a time like this, you're still thinking of going after that useless woman? It's better that you're divorced anyway. I was never satisfied with that daughter-in-law from the start. With her shabby appearance, I was always afraid she'd lead my grandson astray. After speaking, she looked around and said in a deep voice, "Esteemed guests, there's been a misunderstanding here. As you all know, videos and audio can be fabricated. My son divorced Grace a long time ago. She's been relentlessly harassing him, which is why she used such despicable methods to frame my son. It's true that Leo was born to Sarah, and that's because Sarah is now the daughter-in-law of my Shin family. She was pregnant before, which made things inconvenient. When the 2 children have their wedding, we hope you'll honor us with your presence." With half-courteous, half-threatening words, and considering the Shin family's status, no one present was foolish enough not to understand what was going on. Since she'd said it, no one wanted to cross the Shin family. It wasn't their business anyway, so they just watched it all as a show. Marcus, however, wasn't having it. He frowned. "Mother, what are you talking about? Divorce? New daughter-in-law? Sarah has her own husband and family. Grace is your daughter-in-law." Margaret seemed to have anticipated his words. She kindly took Sarah's hand and placed it in Marcus's. "Silly boy, Sarah has already divorced her husband abroad. This was a LL for you, you know. Haven't you always liked her? Now, you two can finally be together. What's so good about Grace? She can't have any more children. With our family's vast fortune, how can one child be enough? Anyway, Leo was born to Sarah, so you two work hard and give me a few more grandsons." Marcus looked at Sarah with confusion. She gave him a shy look. "Marcus, Mother has said so much, how can we, as juniors, defy our elders? We're the true pair. It was my fault for leaving you and going abroad back then, but I never forgot you in my heart, and I remembered your kindness to me. Grace simply isn't good enough for you. You kindly arranged a celebration for her, but what about her? She actually betrayed your good intentions, and knowing how much you care about me, she even tried to harm me. How could such a malicious woman ever be good to Leo in the future? Since she's already divorced you, you can't indulge her anymore, Marcus. Only I will be truly devoted to you. Let's get back together, okay?" Previously, seeing Sarah's coy expression, Marcus would always feel immense affection and want to give her everything. But now, seeing it combined with her disparagement of Grace, it suddenly turned his stomach. His gaze fell on the necklace around Sarah's neck. Recalling the store clerk's words from earlier today, an inexplicable pang of pain shot through his heart. Yes, he had given Sarah so much. Any single piece of jewelry she wore could buy the entire hotel. But what had he given Grace? Looking at the simple decorations around them, Marcus felt incredibly ashamed. Yet, who had enjoyed all of this, showed no guilt towards Grace and even brazenly disparaged her. Marcus pulled his hand back and said coldly, "Sarah, I'm only going to say this once, whether you're divorced or not, my wife will always be Grace. You keep saying Grace is malicious, but she knew the truth all along and never harmed a single hair on Leo's head. And as for why I couldn't control myself after just one drink with you back then, what was in that drink? You and I both know. You're not innocent. Everything between us is over. Go, we don't need to be in contact anymore. I'll have my mother raise Leo." Sarah's face turned pale. She looked to Margaret for help, but just as Margaret was about to speak, Marcus interrupted her coldly, "Mother, you already have a grandson. Don't push me anymore. I'm your son, you know very well what happens if you drive me to madness." With that, he disregarded the guests present and, swift as the wind, left with his assistant. All the way, Marcus frantically called Grace, but only received the automated voice confirming her phone was off. Grace had even blocked him on WhatsApp. Back at home, Marcus's heart sank. All of Grace's things were gone. Only the shredded marriage certificate remained in the trash can. He remembered the day they got their marriage certificate, Grace's face beaming with such happiness as she looked at the little red booklet again and again, as if it were the most precious treasure. Go investigate all major transportation routes, whatever it takes, find out where Grace went. Also, why Sarah divorced her husband, and what exactly happened between Grace and Sarah at the entrance that day. Investigate every single detail and give me a clear report. Marcus's eyes were bloodshot. His assistant, too terrified to speak, nodded repeatedly and hurried off to follow orders. Gazing at the empty house, Marcus sank to his knees in despair. Before, he had always found Grace, after she became pregnant, a bit nagging, constantly sending him messages every day. Meanwhile, he was busy taking care of Sarah, only replying to 1 out of 10 messages. But now, Marcus desperately wished Grace would be a little more verbose, would say just a few more words to him. He would never brush her off again. Marcus profoundly missed Grace's voice. He scrolled through their chat history repeatedly, listening to every voice. Mess. Sage. Marcus, today the doctor hinted that our baby is a boy, but I prefer a girl. It's okay, we have plenty of time, we'll definitely have a daughter later, and then she'll have a big brother to protect her. Marcus, the baby kicked me today. He's a little rascal. Are you still busy? If you're not, could you give me a call? It doesn't have to be long, just 30 seconds. At that moment, Marcus finally understood what those voice messages meant. They were Grace's longing for him. Unfortunately, he understood too late. He knelt on the floor, carefully picking up the shredded pieces, holding them to his chest, sobbing uncontrollably. The assistant quickly brought news. Mr. Marcus, currently we can only trace your wife's flight to a city in France. The specific information hasn't been found yet. Your wife seems to have deliberately hidden her tracks, barely using any identification. We're still investigating. As for why Sarah divorced her husband, and what happened at that day, I've sent it to your email. Marcus silently finished reading the email. The doorbell rang. Sarah had arrived. As soon as she entered, she hugged Marcus around the waist, sobbing, "Marcus, I miss you so much, and I miss Leo too. Please, can I see him? I know Grace suddenly divorcing you was a blow your ego couldn't handle, and you're struggling to accept it. I'm willing to wait for you, I truly love you. What's so great about Grace? As a woman, I know best. She's just playing mind games with you, trying to steal you away from me. Marcus, wake up. I'm the one you truly care about. Forget that cruel woman. Wouldn't it be better if we, the three of us, Leo and us, just lived a good life together?" With that, she stood on her tiptoes, about to kiss Marcus. In the past, whenever she threw herself at him, appearing so vulnerable and pitiful, Marcus would lose control. Men, being creatures driven by their impulses, Sarah assumed this time would be no different. But the next second, Marcus seized her by the throat, his eyes chillingly cold. "You love me? If you truly loved me, you wouldn't have eagerly latched onto a foreign tycoon the moment the Shin family faced a crisis, abandoning me without a second thought to marry abroad. The only reason you came back a year ago was because you discovered he was not only a con artist but also a pervert who enjoyed abusing women, and even your marriage certificate was forged. And coincidentally, the Shin family had just recovered from its crisis and was stronger than ever. That's when you sought me out again, drugged me, got pregnant, and tried to get your hands on both me and the Shin family, isn't that right? Because you knew that as merely the daughter of a minor branch of the Chow family, you'd never live a life of privilege and luxury without attaching yourself to me." Sarah's heart leaped. She hadn't expected Marcus to uncover all of this, and she vehemently shook her head. "Marcus, you've misunderstood me. You know me, I've always been innocent and kind since childhood. How could I be so scheming?" Marcus's grip tightened. "Innocent and kind? Ha, Sarah, do you take me for a fool? Did you think I didn't know? That day, you were the one who first bullied Grace, staged an injury to yourself, and then dared to blame Grace? What's even more unforgivable is that you actually showed Grace the video recording of our child's death, provoking her until she felt she had no choice but to leave me. You're the truly malicious one, and you will pay for it." Soon, Sarah understood what that price would be. Because she saw the foreign husband who had once abused her half to death emerge from the bedroom, grinning at her menacingly. "Darling, long time no see. I've really missed your screams." Marcus threw Sarah to the ground. She clung to his leg, sobbing and pleading, "Marcus, please don't do this to me, I beg you. I just barely managed to escape. Don't send me back to hell." Marcus looked down at her, his RDS chillingly cold. "Because of you, I pushed Grace into hell. I lost Grace, and now I'm living in hell too. And why should you be spared from it?" Sarah was dragged away by the man. She would never escape in this lifetime. Because as punishment for trying to escape, he had amputated her legs and fed them to wild dogs. Half a month later, Marcus's assistant finally brought him good news. "Mr. Marcus, we've located your wife." At this time, I was working as a childcare worker in a Willow children's home in France. Due to the severe lack of staff, the elderly director didn't even ask me for identification. I asked her if she wasn't afraid I was a bad person. She smiled, shook her head, and looked at me kindly. "There's sorrow in your eyes, the kind of sorrow a mother feels when she loses a child. Someone who genuinely grieves for children. I find it hard to believe she's a bad person. There are many children here, all little angels. I hope they can heal the wounds in your heart. The conditions here were good, with a salary, and room and board included. The part of the job I loved most was preparing 3 meals a day for the children. Those were recipes I had learned for my own child, but sadly, he never had the chance to eat them. Watching these children eat the meals I prepared each day and seeing their happy smiles, I felt a sense of healing myself. I had lost my own child. But here, I became Grace to over 100 children. One day, a little girl at the home met her adoptive parents. They were a Chinese-American couple, both doctors, gentle-natured, easy to get along with, and truly fond of children. As usual, I prepared a delicate bento box, hugged the little one, and wished her a happy family and future, good health, and a long life. The little girl kissed my cheek. Grace, I'll miss you. Goodbye. And the uncle behind you, I've seen him for days. Can you say goodbye to him for me too? I froze for a moment, then slowly turned around after the car drove away. Marcus was wearing the same clothes he wore the day he confessed his feelings to me, gazing at me with longing. Grace, during the time you were gone, I kept wondering, if none of that had happened, if our child had grown up healthy and safe, what kind of mother would you have become? And now I see. You're even more beautiful than I imagined. I looked at him indifferently. What's the point of saying all this now? Marcus shook his head with a bitter smile. Grace, I know my sins are profound, and I don't deserve to be here. Even though I've been here for a month, I haven't dared to go in and find you. I've only stood outside, satisfied just to catch a glimpse of you. But people are always greedy. I can't bear to let you go, so I put on these clothes, wanting to shamelessly ask you just one thing. If I truly understand my mistakes and am willing to dedicate the rest of my life to making it up to you, can we still go back to how things were? I chuckled sarcastically. Marcus, before you ask that question, answer me this: can my child come back to life? Don't talk to me about compensation. Someone like you, standing at the entrance of a children's home, makes me want to call the police. Marcus remained silent for a long time until the sorrow in his eyes was almost overflowing. He then scoffed at himself. You're right. I understand. I'll go where I belong and never bother you again. He took a document from his bag. Grace, your divorce agreement wasn't thorough enough. I've signed a new one. This isn't compensation, it's what you're owed. I know you don't want to be near me. I'll leave the agreement on the ground, you can pick it up after I'm gone. Grace, I'm leaving. From now on, no matter where I am, I'll pray for you 1,000 times every minute, hoping you find happiness and peace for the rest of your life. Grace, goodbye. Marcus took one last look at me, a gaze filled with endless reluctance and longing, then turned and walked away. Watching his retreating back, I thought of myself during those lonely days, going to prenatal appointments alone, staring out the window at home until dawn. I must have looked just like that. Only now, the lonely one wasn't me anymore. The next day, a substantial amount of money was deposited into my account, as stipulated by Marcus in the divorce agreement. Yes, no stocks, no property, just cash. A few days later, I understood why. Marcus surrendered himself to the authorities, openly confessing to orchestrating harm against his wife and personally causing the death of their child. The family's stock immediately plummeted, their various industries suffered massive blows, and even their properties went unclaimed. Such a depraved and ruthless degenerate, a monster who deserved universal condemnation. I don't know if he was sentenced to death, because Marcus took his own life before the verdict was released. With that money, I established children's homes and rescue centers around the world. I hope every child in this world can grow up safe, healthy, and live a long, fulfilling life. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it with friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. See you next time.